Hello and welcome to Knitting on the Float. My name is Tracy and I'm your host. I am coming to you from a gorgeous sunny day in the Vancouver area. It is June 1st, so no more Lofty May vlogs, but today we have some very exciting things to do and share. But first off, look at this. I am totally surrounded by waterfowl. There are ducks and geese, and I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see a better view of them rather than of me in the way. Up on the bank we have the two parents and the hopefully 30 little ones that guy wanted to run across. And then we've got some swimming geese here, and look how much bigger they are. And then there are geese down the way, some little ones and some big ones, and on the docks there are lots and lots of ducks here. I have been collecting feathers for the past little while, and if you've seen the second pattern from the Handmade Sock Society, you might know why. They are called the feather vane socks. So yesterday I happened to come out onto the dock and there was a lovely little mallard feather there for me. I've seen lots of little fluffy ones, but there was an actual real quilly looking feather. I don't know how to describe them. I'm not a collector of feathers, just a collector of yarn and beautiful crafty things. Anyway, we'll go in and see some of those feathers, but for now we're just seeing our feathered friends. And they are so adorable. I'm going to try and count, but I don't know how well I will do. Are you ready to go upstairs and see the loft now? I have given a little vacuum and a little sweep, so I think it's looking pretty good. Now, not everything is 100% in place, but compared to when we started at the beginning of May, I'm so pleased with how things have turned out. So let's go upstairs. You will notice there are no dinosaurs. The dinosaur is in the toy bin, although in my vacuuming and sweeping quest, I have come across a dragon and a crocodile. Oh, so here we are, top of the stairs. We look up, we see the boys' room. Let's check out the closet first. And it is looking pretty neat in here and easy to get the things that I'm looking for when I'm looking for them. And while it's not perfectly convenient having to reach in the very back to maybe grab a fabric, it's still a lot better than it was. Let's now look at the sitting area. Now, this section here is not mine, and while I will help, that's not my responsibility, and I'm okay with that. But over here, my desk is all set up. I had to have a chat with Greg because he kept putting pictures back on my desk. I said, no, I've dealt with my pictures. You have yours to deal with now. The little blue cabinet is cleared out. You might notice there's a little bit of a nest of cords and a bit messy looking on the shelves. I'm still going to need to work on that. And also on either side of the desk, there are the framed degrees and other pictures that haven't been hung yet. So I haven't dealt with those, but here we have the sitting area so that when you're upstairs, you can relax, have a nice cup of tea and just watch the water go by. And then we have a place that you can put that cup of tea. And Greg has been doing notes up here. Isaac's been doing his lesson plans. So they write in the chair and then they have their things at the side. And then when they get bored, they've got some toys to play with. And let's go over to the crafting area. And I am so pleased with this space. When we started off at the beginning of May, I was completely overwhelmed, and the blue dresser was piled high with pictures and breakable things. This corner, oh yes, well, I think it will always be the corner of clutter, but now it's not as much clutter as it is the yarn stash. And then of course I have moved the beautiful upstairs sewing room over to this side. It had been on the other side, but behind a bunch of bins. So the bins are coming down, which is good. The blue dresser is looking fantastic and for the most part has been kept nice and neat this month. And I have had to wind a few balls of yarn, or skeins of yarn. So the Swift is set up. I never pointed this out to you. This has always been on here. It's just a card from Sweet Georgie Yarns, and it just helps because this is clamped on to protect the top. I do love my Nancy's Knit Knacks ball winder. I got that from the Purple Pearl before they closed. Jen especially ordered it in. That was what they had in their shop, and it was always just so wonderful to use. And I had purchased one of the plastic ones, and it broke within a year, and I thought, I can buy a new one every year, or I can buy myself a really good quality one. And I've only had to adjust this section once in the years that I've had it, and I've had it many years now, so, and it has wound many wonderful skeins of yarn. Anyway, this is the blue dresser, and then of course we moved the sewing machine over here. I do need to get a little jar. I've not talked about this B8 sewing room that had been given to me from a former colleague, and it is very special. And you'll remember the spice rack that we cleaned up a little bit, made the threads in here a little bit more orderly, and then I've put some fun things on the top as well, and my beads have made themselves over here. And then I have a little tin of pins, and I have my little extra treasure chest full of threads, and Isaac had made this for me, and inside he loves me. Ah, my beautiful skinny pinnies are there, and I didn't show you the other day, but I've put the buttons in this drawer here along with a tape measure. I have not quite closed that properly because I was into it yesterday. It is a little bit stiff. There we are. The wonderful yarn takes up the bottom 3 shelves, and then last night I did a little bit of decorating. I had an extra eye of the Winnie the Pooh letters, and I put that in there, and then of course Isaac's little hands from when he was very, very young. The wedding ring pillow has a very special place right in the center. And then I have a couple other lovely figurines. And I've been able to put 3 of these plates here. And oh, I love them. I wish I could put 4, but that means I need to get knitting and free up another shelf of yarn. Okay, let's look on the top. I have put a couple of yarn bowls. I put the little T with the Winnie the Pooh, and then I had a little mouse figurine that my mother gave me. My other beautiful yarn bowl, and then I've got some Yadro pieces. And then right above that, I did not put the plate rack back up. I instead put my beautiful cross stitch. So when you come up and you look, it just looks, I think, welcoming, homey, certainly quirky with all of the knitting angels. And I've got my little Tinkerbell here too. So definitely a nice place to come and sit. And then there is the stool here for anybody who wants to come sit with me while I sit in my favorite green chair. And then we have the circular sock machine, which I still need to put the needles back in, but what I've done is I've popped them in that basket there for now. Keep them all organized, and it doesn't look terrible on there. And then you might notice that I did not put out the drop spindles. I've got some Turkish spindles. They are in those 2 bins there. I didn't really want to, I had so many pretty things that I had in the cabinet, so I didn't want to overdo it. And I already kind of feel like it's a little overdone in there, but I want to keep those things safe. So for now, the spindles are right beside the spinning wheel, which again needs to be unpacked. And then this box at the bottom, the 2 boxes actually, are things for my circular sock machine, as is this lovely little basket there. And I've got a thing of Chow Goo needles because I find it easier to graft my toes when they come off the circular sock machine with knitting needles. And then back to the bench, which we found out can hold 125 skeins of 100-gram skeins of yarn. And it's not got that many in there right now just because I didn't want to overstuff it. There are baskets of yarn everywhere. Anyway, I am so pleased with this space. And coming up here now is going to be a treat rather than the scary, overwhelming task that it used to be. And of course, with the gorgeous view, it's now nice to come up, sit a while, paw around through some yarn, do some stash diving, do a bit of crafting, some sewing. It's a really nice place to be. I forgot one more thing. I hung up this lovely little glass star that I have had hanging in all of my houses somewhere. And I used to have 2 of them. Unfortunately, one of them broke, but it just brings me that little bit of joy. I want to say a huge thank you for joining me throughout this process of straightening out the loft. Your words of encouragement have really, really helped me. There have been a few times where I was ready to give up, and knowing that, I had so many people behind me sending me so many positive thoughts, it was really that burst of energy that I needed some days. So thank you for that. And I've really enjoyed filming each day, going outside and seeing what the river has to hold. And every day it was different, although there were a lot of geese and little ducklings, but every day they did something different. They got bigger. And then we happened to see a raccoon, actually 2 raccoons, and a coyote/coyote. I didn't quite capture the beaver. I did capture him, but unfortunately the clip that I had would not quite go. But that's for another time. Well, we are going to go downstairs now. I'm going to make myself a lovely beverage. We're going to sit down on the nice comfy couch downstairs, and I am going to share with you the Feather Vane socks, the new pattern from Helen Stewart, Curious Handmade. And I've been talking about it all month, and I am so excited that I can finally share this project with you. So let's go downstairs and do this. I actually know the secret to keeping Scout happy while I'm trying to podcast or record, and that is to keep the screen door open here so that she can look out, see the ducks, the geese, and she's usually quite calm when she is relaxed by the front door, breathing in the fresh air and seeing the wildlife. So I'm going to record with the door open, which makes it a little bit louder for us, but it means hopefully less distractions and less getting up and down for me, because Scout is happily guarding the front door. The tea is steeping, the projects are right beside me, and it is finally time to sit down and have a little bit of a nitty chat. I'm going to share the project I worked on a tiny bit yesterday, and then of course I'm going to share with you the project that I told you about pretty much most days in May. So finally I will be revealing that. But before I do, let us enjoy a wonderful beverage together. And I have pulled out something very, very special to drink out of today. Today, I thought it was perfectly fitting to climb up on the step stool and pull out my Up the Garden Path set here. So I've got the teapot with some violet cream from Bird and Blend Teas inside, and then of course I have the cup. So this is kind of heavy, so I'm going to try and do this without spilling. So let us pour that lovely cup of tea. And oh, look at the nice amber color there. I won't fill it too much. I just spilled a dribble of tea on my knee. Fun cup here, and of course, Gwendolyn says, I had no idea there would be any flowers in the country. And Cicely replies, oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London. Love this set. For our cheers today, I think that we have had a wonderful month together, so I would like to cheer to spending a wonderful bit of time together throughout May, and wishing you wonderful, wonderful things to come in the month of June. Cheers to that. This tea is making me want to go to one of the local British shops and buy myself some wonderful British chocolates. Oh, so yummy. Tea is better for me, I know. Yesterday, I worked on this project in my Celebrating Mice bag for a little bit while Nathaniel was doing his last ukulele class. And Oh, I love this bag. This is my Chou Shui Shrug, which I cast on in May, and I didn't get a whole lot done. I did 2 full brioche rows, so I'm now just halfway through the repeat, and oh, I didn't put my lockers back on. That would be a smart thing to do because I do not want to lose any stitches on this project. That would be a nightmare, it really would. Okay, so I am loving this project. It has definitely not had the amount of time that I would have liked to have given it, but I've got time ahead of me, and I'm hoping that the next time that we visit, this project will have grown a huge amount. Almost like those little goslings, like that they're almost full grown. That would be lovely. I don't know if we'll quite get there, but it would be nice. For this yarn, I am using Viola Merino Singles, and this is in the colorway Thistle, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And I'm also using Hedgerow Yarns, which is now tangled up in Hedgehog Fibers. And this hedgerow is called Glacier, and it is a silky single. So it is merino and silk. I think it's 70% merino and 30% silk. And these 2 colors together are making me so, so happy. So I did a little bit of work on it, as I mentioned. This is the Chou Shui Shrug, and I am hoping tonight to at least finish off this repeat and continue on, although I have a few more projects that I would also like to work on. And very soon I am hoping to get pattern 3 for the Handmade Sock Society season 5, because pattern 2 is now done, so I'm ready to move on. Okay, that is one thing that I worked on yesterday, and then yesterday I took some photographs of the feather vane socks that have been living in my gorgeous little bobbins bag. And do not think it is a mistake that my bag had a little bird on it, because of course I did know the name of the pattern going into the test knit, and when I was choosing out my bag, of course it had to have some sort of feathered friend on it, and what better feathered friend than one that Danny of Little Bobbins has made. So there is always a method to my madness. For this yarn, the yarn I chose was a Wool Barn yarn, and this is Plush Sock in the Mist colorway. And I've been letting you know that that base has been renamed Soft Sock, and it is loose. This is the gorgeous Mist colorway, and 85% merino, 15% nylon. It was a dream to knit with. Now, for the reveal of my feather vane socks. And the other thing I had in here, by the way, was my cable needle. This is one of the signature cable needles. I actually really like those. I don't necessarily like a lot of the signature needles, especially the sock needles. I find they get burred, but I do like the cable needles. My feather vane socks. Oh, so, so pretty. They start off with a 1x1 twisted rib. The leg goes into this gorgeous cabled pattern section. This lace is so, so lovely. We then go into a slip stitch heel, and I think this one is a half kerchief heel. I could be wrong though. And then of course a lovely gusset, because I always find a sock with a gusset always fits so much better. And then up the foot in the cabled lace pattern again, and into a wedge toe. So that is one. Here is the other one, and I'm going to put at least one on a sock blocker. And this pattern is so lovely. Now, sock 1 and sock 2 are slightly different. I will put them both on sock blockers. The cabling is different. So one of them you do a left cross and the other one you do a right cross. And or a right cable and a left cable. And so when you are on the edges, these are different, and also down the center and then back to the other edge. They are just that slight difference. And what I did was, once I finished sock 1, I went through the pattern again and I just crossed off the left and changed it to a right for my cable, so then that kept me on track and I wasn't making silly little flubs, because I would be prone to do that. But this gorgeous pair of socks was a dream to knit, and the colorway I think looks so beautiful. In early May, when we were choosing yarn, I did like that it was like this mist colorway but had little brown speckles in it. I think that would have looked nice as well, but I'm really quite pleased with the tonal. And then we looked at another one that was a little bit of a brighter blue, but I just love the mellowness of this colorway. So for me, I'm so thrilled with the yarn that we chose together. Yes, I know I ultimately chose it because I was the one in control of the stash, but I feel like we chose it together. Anyway, these are the wonderful feather vane socks. This is the second pattern from the Handmade Sock Society Season 5 by Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade. I gifted the first pattern to my sister for her birthday. These ones, I think I am definitely keeping because it will remind me of our month together. And they are, oh, they're dreamy. They're just dreamy. That is the knitting that I got up to throughout May. And very soon, I expect I'll get the third pattern. I'll go upstairs to a nice clean loft where I can figure out what yarn I want to knit with, and for the most part, find it fairly easily, especially if it's in either the cabinet or in one of the baskets. If it's in the bins and it's in that bottom corner, that might be a little bit more challenging, but I know I can do it. Anyway, beautiful socks, beautiful company. Thank you for joining me for May. And now that we are into June, I'm going to be getting back to the normal podcast format, although I am going to do a little bit of a different thing. I was talking with Greg earlier this month, and he thought it would be probably good for me to really relax during the summer a little bit more. And so I'm going to try and podcast every second week. So I'm going to take next week off, and then I will be back for my regular Thursday in 2 weeks. So see how that goes. I always find, though, there's so much I want to share with you that it does make taking that break hard, but he's going to be taking holidays and the boys are busy with things, so it might be good just to take it a little bit easier this summer. And that gives me a lot more time to get some of those projects a little bit more under my belt, so that I'm not every day saying, I worked on this, I worked on this, I worked on this. I want to show you the finished object. So I will see you in 2 weeks. And then I think the podcast after that, we will share the third pattern from the Sock Society, but we'll play that by ear. I am looking forward to sitting down with you in 2 weeks, where we will have a nice beverage and we will have lots of crafty chat. I'm hoping that I'm going to work on this. I think that would be something very fun to do. And it would be nice to work on a few other projects that have been living in the whip drawer as well. I do have one more mystery knit that I would love to get off the needles very, very soon, and of course, my Shoe Swish rug. I am wishing you a wonderful day, evening, whatever time it is for you. Again, a huge thank you for joining me throughout the month of May, and I am wishing you the most wonderful, wonderful June. I like June. This year I really want to make sure I enjoy it. And I think what I should do when Greg gets home, have him take me out on the Harley. And this violet cream here has me wanting chocolate, so maybe we'll go to one of the British shops. We shall see. Cheers again to lovely friends and lovely visiting time. I will see you soon. Bye. After finding out the name of the socks was the feather vane socks, I have been collecting feathers for pretty much the month of May. The only exception is this one here, and this is a swan feather that one of my neighbors gave me. But all of these lovely ones with such amazing details on them. Little speckles. I've been picking those up off the dock, and yesterday I happened out on the dock and one of the mallards got up and he had left this behind for me, so I thought that was very, very special. That was right when I was taking photographs of the beautiful feather vane socks. It is now June 1st. We are starting a whole new month. May has been fantastic, but I know June is going to be wonderful too. Happy, happy June.